Clemson, with them getting dog walked by Georgia, I mean, Clemson got absolutely embarrassed by Georgia. They lost 34-3. I was not expecting them to get throttled in this fashion. I thought they were going to be able to make this a competitive game. You always know that Clemson is going to be really good defensively, which was evident with how well their defense played in the first half of this game. But in the second half, their defense completely got gassed because the offense couldn't do anything at all. And after watching this performance from Clemson, losing to Georgia in blowout fashion, it's fair to say that they have officially fallen off from the ranks of the elite programs in college football. When you're going up against other elite teams in the sport, you got to be able to be competitive. You just can't be getting ran through the mud like how you did tonight against Georgia. I mean, it was just completely embarrassing. And Dabo Swinney, I believe he still is one of the best coaches in college football, but his stubbornness is ruining Clemson. His inability or his unwillingness to want to use the transfer portal has hurt this team so bad to the point where they have holes on the offensive line and at wide receiver that have been problems for the last 3 years. When's the last time Clemson has produced a first-round wide receiver in the NFL draft? It's been a while. And when you think of the prestige of Clemson, what has given Clemson the reputation that they have in terms of name value, when you think of Clemson football, you think of Sammy Watkins, Justin Ross, Mike Williams, DeAndre Hopkins, Trevor Lawrence, Deshaun Watson. You think of superstars. They don't have any superstars on this team. At least most that we know from a general college football fan understanding. You know, they may have some really good players that diehard Clemson fans know are really good, but they don't have a lot of household names anymore. And with this loss to Georgia and the fashion that they lost this game, it's just hard for me to look at Clemson the same way that I used to look at them in years past. They aren't a team that I feel is capable of being able to contend for a national championship anymore. And I don't even think they're going to finish top 3 in the ACC this year. Virginia Tech, Louisville could finish with better records than what Clemson could end up with this year. And I don't want to overreact too much because they did play Georgia, the best team in college football. But at the same time, I consider Clemson to be an elite program. Therefore, you should be way more capable of doing more when you go up against a team like Georgia. A few years ago when you last played Georgia, you only lost 10-3. The offensive ineptness that we've seen out of Clemson the last couple of years has been downright disgusting. You don't expect that from a program that has the prestige and the reputation that Clemson has. You know, it's pretty obvious that Clemson no longer has what it takes to get back into the national title picture. They are an old relic. They're an artifact. If you think that Clemson is still a great team and they still can make it to the college football playoffs, you're living off history. You're not judging this team based off what they are now. You saw how ugly things got in the fourth quarter against Georgia. I turned the game off. There was no point watching it anymore. What was any reason to watch this game once it got out of hand? Once we got into the third quarter and Georgia started to pull away, we found out what this Clemson team was. And that is a 8-win team, maybe 9-win team at best. They don't have the talent on offense to be able to dethrone the Miami or to be able to possibly beat Virginia Tech, because Virginia Tech has way more talent offensively this year than what Clemson has. And Garrett Riley, I thought he was a great hire. I still think that he's a good offensive coordinator. But there are restrictions being placed on him due to Dabo Swinney's stubbornness towards utilizing the portal to improve obvious positions of need. And I respect that Dabo is trying to do things his way. You know, he's still trying to do things rooted in tradition. And he's trying to continue to run Clemson football the way he has ran it, that has gotten it to the point that it used to be where they were on the top of the food chain in college football, knocking off the Alabama dynasty, winning 2 national championships during the past decade. Now, you look at Clemson as, a has-been. They used to be a great program. They had a good one in the 2010s, but now it's over. It's back to reality for Clemson. This is an 8-9 win team at best. And if they find a way to get into the playoffs, they're going to be nothing more but a first-round exit. Because Cade Klubnik is not it at quarterback, and their inability to develop quarterbacks has kind of put them in this hole that they're in right now. It's not that Clemson can't recruit good quarterbacks. Cade Klubnik was top 10 coming out of his recruiting class. He was highly sought after by damn near every college in the nation. But you have to be able to help develop these guys, to help them ascend to that next level, to be a championship caliber team. Deshaun Watson, he wasn't a 5 or 4 star. He was a 3-star dude. But Dabo Swinney brought him in, developed him. Trevor Lawrence was a 5-star, probably the biggest recruit that Clemson has ever had. But they were able to develop him. But Clemson has struggled to develop not just quarterback, but the other positions on their offense. They can't develop offensive linemen or receivers anymore. Clemson is no longer elite program in my eyes. They're a very good program. I view them in the same lens as I view Wisconsin. Occasionally they can pop off, give you a 10-win season, but now I can't see them as a legitimate playoff contender. The only way they're going to get into the playoffs this year is if they win the ACC. They're not going to get an at-large bid because they're not going to be able to beat Notre Dame. And they're probably going to suffer at least 2 or 3 more losses this year. And they're going to be an 8-4 football team. Clemson, the glory days for this program are over.